It doesn't surprise me that TikTok, Instagram should be very body focused. It's just natural for technology to be obsessed with the human body. They're all related experiences. I used to joke that I could watch Lawrence of Arabia on my Apple Watch and to see 1,000 camels, Well, you can. It's a different experience, but it's still an experience. And I think they're all valid, really. I watch movies on my iPad as well as on a bigger screen, and it works. I mean, it really does work. The quality is so good now in terms of the resolution. It's not like VHS days, where you're watching a very degraded image. These images are as good as anything you will see in the cinema. But obviously, if you had your choice, of course, you'd watch it in the cinema on a huge screen with great big sound. I mean, of course, why not? I have found that when I'm watching a movie on an iPad and I'm holding it, I'm right in the movie. I mean, in a way, I'm more in the movie because it's almost like I'm eating it, So it's a different experience, but it's still pretty absorptive, and you can really see everything. So I think the cinema, the days of big movie houses is over, that there will be a niche place for cinemas, but I think most people will be watching the way they watch Netflix. I really think, yeah. For obvious reasons, we judge people's beauty, attractiveness from what we see, what we touch, what we smell, and that's not the inside of the body. And most people have not really got a good relationship with the inside of their own bodies. To be a successful animal, you don't need to know about the inside of your body. But in terms of being a successful human being, maybe you do need to. You need to develop, if not an aesthetic sense, an understanding of what the body is. We cannot ignore what we are, including the inside of our bodies. So we are very complex creatures. In the movie, we have a sign that says, body is reality. Not only are we animals, and the essence of who we are is physical, is what we are physically, but also the way we perceive the world is physical. And I often say, if you're sitting in a room with your dog and you and the dog are in the same room, maybe you're both watching television together. You're in different worlds, different reality. The way the dog sees, hears, smells, completely different from yours. The way the colors are, completely different. So there is only the reality of a body, even if it's a spider, it's with 8 eyes, different reality. The other aspect of the body that we talk about in the movie is technology. I have machines in the movie that are like bodies. They are bodies, and they are extensions of the human body. And to me, that's a metaphor for what I think. All technology is an extension of the human body, when you include the brain. There was a time in the 1940s, 1950s with science fiction where technology came from outer space. It was alien, it was non-human, it was destructive. I think that all technology only comes from humans, and it is always about the body, the extension of the body, the fist, the eyes, you see binoculars, the microphone, the phone. It all comes from the body and then explodes into the world. It doesn't surprise me that TikTok, Instagram should be very body focused, and even if it's food and what you're eating, so it's just natural for technology to be obsessed with the human body. Instead of saying the world is being destroyed by pollution, by plastics, by toxic materials, instead of trying to suppress that, to reverse that, to clean the ocean of microplastic, to suppress the production of plastics. Instead, we should think of plastics as something positive, that we should change the body so that we can eat plastic, that we can find nourishment from plastic. We could solve the problem of hunger around the world if everybody could eat plastic. So in a way that's a satire, but in a way it's for real, because Since I wrote this script 20 years ago, there are now people who are trying to produce plastic that we can eat, because we noticed that there are bacteria that can eat plastic. And bacteria are just they're animals, you know, so if they can get energy and nutrition from plastic, then it's possible that humans are an accumulation of cells. Why can't we do the same? When I wrote the screenplay, no one was talking about microplastics at all. Now, of course, just in the last few weeks, they've discovered that many people, maybe most people, have microplastics in their bloodstream, in their flesh. In a way, our bodies are already trying to deal with it, even before intellectually we were dealing with it. I did see Titane, and I saw it in a cinema, but only because my producer had tickets and he wanted me to go with him. But I did want to see the movie, of course. That was the last movie I saw in a cinema. Normally I'm watching on a television set at home, and I really loved Titane. The producer was interested to know what I thought because he was trying to get Titane to be the official French selection for the Oscars. I was very surprised that Titane was chosen by France to represent France, just because it's a very extreme, audacious film. And usually if it's government, you know, bureaucracy choosing a movie, you expect that they will pick something safer, you know. So it was wonderful. But I loved her first film, you know, Grave, and that's when we met. We met in Toronto at the Toronto Film Festival. It was very funny. We had a lot of laughs, and it was really fun. I really hope to meet her while I'm in Paris. I think I will. Of course it evolves because we're older, we've had more experience, and we've spent more time being friends together. Because we are friends, we keep in touch, you know, even if we're not making movies together. We understand each other very deeply. But it's basically, here's the dialogue, here's the costume. Is this the right costume? Is this dialogue? How do we deliver the dialogue? It's a very interesting performance that Viggo does, because it's not a usual, it's not, you know, not how you see him normally. It's, as he said, a reactive role, which, in other words, his character reacts to things but does not initiate things. It's not the typical, it's not a superhero role, you know. He doesn't attack. But for an actor, that can be very interesting. It's not easy to do. But I would say, honestly, I'm basically on the set working with him no differently than I would work with Léa Seydoux. I say, show me, let's see how we play this scene. Where do you move in the room? Do you stand there and say the dialogue and then go there? And we work that out like a play, really, to see what the movement is in a room. And then I hear the way the dialogue is being delivered, and I say, maybe too much there, a little more here. And it just gradually evolves, you know, organically. And even with Viggo, it's basically the same process at that point. I've often said that casting is a black art. It's very mysterious. You know, when you see actors in a movie and they're perfect for the role, you can't imagine anybody else. But when you've got a script, you can imagine everybody. No, it's strange. You start with a budget. How much is this movie going to cost? If it costs $3 million, you don't need a big name of an actor. If it costs $50 million, you need a big name. If it costs $100 million, maybe you need 4 big names. So you get a list of actors who maybe could work with this budget. If you're making an underground film, you work with non-actors, you know, who get no money. That's how I started. So it's not the way most people would think it works, you know. You start with the budget, and then you start with the schedule, and then you start with who might work in the movie. It moves around. I mean, initially, Viggo wanted to play the cop, and initially I cast Léa as Timlin in the role that Kristen ended up playing. And then eventually I convinced Viggo to play the lead. When Léa heard that I was having trouble finding Caprice, she said, "David, I really think I should play Caprice." And I said, "You know, Léa, I think you are the actor I was looking for all along, I just didn't know it." Ralph Fiennes once said that the least directing he ever got was when he did Spider for me. And he meant that as a compliment. He was so good, he knew exactly what to do. I didn't have to say anything. I have no ego on the set, you know. I mean, I'm not there to be a performer and to show that I'm the director. If everything's going well, I say nothing, you know.